people have had some rumors, but we don't know why. I'm feeling very sad about what happened. It's hard when we lose someone. I'm sorry. It's hard when we lose someone close to us. Today there will be counselors in the building that will be visiting each classroom to talk about what has happened. These counselors will be available if anyone feels they need to talk further privately. Oh, thank you.
Ms. Smith, you okay?
It is. I have a cold, plus I'm very emotional about this.
Okay, Tatiana.
It is important that we understand that we all process grief differently. Excuse me, let me finish, please, and then we're going to discuss it and how we feel. There's no right or wrong way to feel. Some of you may feel nothing. Some of you may feel anger, sadness. Because this is unexpected, some of you may be in shock about the news. Laughing sometimes happens. When we feel nervous or we don't know what to say or do when something like this happens, sometimes we laugh. Some may want to talk where others will not. It's okay what you feel. It is normal to feel the way you feel. Often, when something like this happens, it can remind us of a past experience when we have lost someone close to us. Those feelings may come back to you at this time. If that happens, please let us know. It is important that you have an opportunity to talk about those feelings with a counselor. I also want us to be patient with each other during this difficult time. We are also wanting to think of a way that maybe we can honor Dominique and her family during this time. Again, we don't know when the arrangements are going to be, but we would like to, as a school, to somehow let her family know that we are honoring Dominique and we have grief and sorrow for the family of what happened. But again, it's just something that happened during the night. That, again, you're going to hear a lot of rumors about this and that about Dominique. We don't know. We're not medical examiners. We're not doctors. We're really not going to speculate as to what happened to her. I think most of you knew Dominique. You may have had class with her last year or had a class with her this year. I think most students around here knew Dominique. And I felt that she was a person that had a lot of life to her. She always had a lot of great ideas. When I heard about the whole fact that they were looking for people for the Black History program, I immediately thought, oh, I know Dominique is signing up for that. Because that's how she was. Even though sometimes people weren't the nicest to her, she still kept going, kept doing whatever she had to do. She always liked to be in the limelight. So, does anyone here have feelings about what's going on? How many of you did not know Dominique? I see, probably didn't. Adonis, I don't know, did you know Dominique?
Yeah,
You knew her? Okay, because I know you're new here. But like I said, as we have counselors coming to each room to maybe discuss what's going on, please have patience with your classmates, because some people are going to laugh, but that's their way of dealing with death. A lot of people cannot deal with death, and especially unknown death. If Dominique had maybe gotten hit by a car or had been very sick, then we maybe could understand it. But for someone just to go to sleep and not wake up, for sometimes that's really hard for us to understand, especially for a young person, for that to happen. A person that you knew that was just so young. So sometimes it may be difficult for you to deal with. Right now, you're just maybe absorbing the information. Some of you probably did not hear about it.
I heard about it this morning when I came this morning.
Right. Some of you is just starting to be known to people, and some of you may not have heard about it, and now you're just kind of absorbing that information as to what? Dominique is dead. I don't, what? That's how I first heard when I saw the email that was sent to us by Mr. Carney this weekend. I was like, what? I just talked to her. And it's just like, you just never know what's going to happen. I believe in, which I always tell people, tomorrow is not promised to you. The next second is not promised to you. So basically, you should live your life the way that you want to be remembered. So I just said, for me, I want everyone in here to just make a vow that today will be a fantastic day for you. You're going to go into class and you're going to do what you need to do today in honor of Dominique. Everyone is going to work to their best abilities today in honor of Dominique. And I think that's one thing we can do today. Now, if you want to, I really would say tomorrow and the next day and the next day to honor Dominique. But I'm just asking you, today, I want everyone to be on their A game in honor of Dominique. So if you need supplies to be on your A day or whatever it is, because we want to honor her and where she now is. She's in a place that I always say that I one day aspire to be, and that's up in heaven. But she is now no longer in pain or suffering or being teased or anything else. It's where we all aspire one day to be. Not now. And it's very tragic and sad for me that a 12 and 13-year-old had to go so early. But I want us to honor her as being a student here at Hart, and her friendship, and her all that she was to you, whether it was something very small or just a person you just saw in the hall, or you had a friendship with, or she was just someone you knew. Honor her somehow today. And let's also think of ways that we can show her family that we honor Dominique as being a part of our lives for however short period of time it was. Whether you want to all give $1, that we give some money, or we can give some, make cards or something, and let them know that, yes, we honor Dominique and we feel your pain and grief. Because we know that it must be a very hard time for you, especially when your daughter went to bed that night, even though she wasn't feeling well. And then when you go to wake her up and she's not there anymore. So therefore, we want to honor her family also and let them know how much we did, or we do understand their grief. So does anyone have any ideas on what we can do as a school or as an advisory? Yes, Charlie. That's a possibility. They may even have a wake the night before. And we can go and we can just show the family, because that makes people feel good when they have so many people coming to show their respect for that child. I know we had a teacher here who passed away, and it was so many students from Hart and Blue who were there that they couldn't all fit in the church. And that made the family feel so good that so many people thought so much of her. Because it was during the school day, so kids didn't go to school. They all came to pay their respects to Miss Bass. That was years ago. So that may be a thing. We can go to, somehow as a school, go to the funeral, whenever it is. Like I said, they have not made arrangements yet that I know of. Any other way do you think we can honor her and her family? Like I said, we can think of it tomorrow. Maybe make cards. Like I said, people can give a donation where we can give something towards to the family to help with expenses. Maybe give donations so we can buy flowers or something, or make something in her honor. Give a donation to an organization in her honor or something. But I just said, my whole thing is, as we're thinking about it, today, let's make a commitment that today is our A-game day in honor of Dominique. Do we all agree to that? Yes? No? I don't know?
That's what's
Okay. If, again, you have problems with dealing with it, or just any time during the day, but like we said, sometimes that's how people deal with grief, because they don't know how. They don't know what to say or what to do. Haven't you ever been in a situation when it's a terrible situation and someone says something stupid And you're like, why the heck you say that? That's because they don't know how to deal with the situation. So things just kind of blurt out, which they regret later. But a lot of people can't deal with death. They can't deal with someone not being around, existing anymore. I know for me, my grandmother, who was like the heart for me, died in September. And 3 weeks later, my brother died. So I had 2 deaths back to back. And it was a very hard time for me. But I was able to deal with it eventually. I still think about them both, and this is now like 7, 8 years later. But sometimes it's very difficult for us to deal with it. So if any time during the day you feel like you just really want to talk with someone about it and all that's going on, they will have counselors here. They're going to have counselors in the office there. They may have counselors in Ms. Hammock's office. There's going to be counselors here for you to talk with it. But let's try and show compassion for those people, especially the people that's in Ms. Ferguson, Quinto's block, because that's the classes that Dominique went through. Those were her classmates. So basically, they may be having a difficult time. And as you see your counterparts or your peers having difficulty, just give them a hug. That's it. Just give them a hug. Because some people are probably going to have some guilt because of the fact that they weren't the nicest to Dominique, or they had some kind of confrontation with her, and now they're having guilt behind it. Give those people a hug. A hug goes a long way when dealing with someone. And maybe later on today, as you're sitting in class, you'll be thinking about it, or just some kind of thoughts will come to you, and you feel you want to have someone to talk to. All the teachers know to let you go to one of the counselors so that they can help you deal with the grief and the understanding of what's happened here. Because it's so unexpected for all of us. Even Ms. Smith is just really, really emotional about it. I even dreamed about Dominique last night because it's on my mind. But we can all deal with this in our own way. And don't, like you said, get upset with someone because they laugh, because some people, that's how they deal with it. They say laughter is a good medicine, and that may be their medicine of how they're going to deal with the student that we won't see in the halls anymore. She won't be Dominique going down the hall.
May I just
Uh-huh.
interject something?
Mm-hmm.
Good morning, young ladies and gents. How are you guys doing? My name is Mr. Joseph. I'm one of the counselors that you're going to be seeing around in the building. You're going to see a lot of new faces of people from all over the city. I work with central office, so when we have crises or situations like this, they give us a call the night before and say, I need you to go to this particular place because of this was happening. Ms. Smith said a whole lot, and she said everything I was going to say, so you made my job real easy today while I go to different classes. But when I do these type of visits, I have to take a deep breath because death used to be associated with old folks, older people, and now young people, and they're getting younger and younger, passing away, dying. I ain't no Dominique, so I'm hoping that you guys can help me, because one thing I like to do when we go through this, or when I go through this, I want to get a feel for what Dominique was or was like. How many of you guys knew Dominique? Cool. I want to do a little exercise if you guys will.
No, that's for the
This is for
board
this
here,
small
right?
board. I can write on this one right here. Okay. So I want each one of you guys, I want you to say your name, and I want you to write one word that describes Dominique, so I can get a feel for what she was like, and, you know, the good, the bad, the indifferent, however you remember her by. I want you to come up here, each one of you guys, and write one word that describes her, so I could know that when I look at this, I'm like, okay, I can get a feel for what she was. Who would like to go first? Actually, just come on up. There's three races here. And tell me your name, sweetheart. Monet.